Hey everybody, Don Zoldai here, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting. Welcome back to your Donna Drones podcast. We are ending an incredible month that we've dedicated to this idea of the tech ecosystem, sponsored by True Weather Solutions. And today we have a guest coming to us live from Poland. Joanna Wieczorek is one of the leaders of the Drone Alliance Europe. And when you think about the tech ecosystem, it's a global one. And we're so excited to have Joanna on the show today. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Dawn. Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, and we are ecstatic to have you. And frankly, we have Volatus Aerospace to thank for your presence today. You are appearing, as you know, as part of the Volatus Above and Beyond series. They have been supporting one episode a month really for the last 2 years, and we're so thankful for their support to be able to have incredible people like you on the show. So thank you again. Now, Joanna, you are an attorney, yay, like me, from Poland. Tell everybody a little bit about your background and how you even got into aviation and drones.
Well, I started in 2005, just after I graduated from the Jagiellonian University in Poland. Then I was studying a bit in French, the French legal system, and I landed in a lot Polish airlines. So I started to work at legal department for airlines. But then I transferred to a private intellectual property law firm focused on aviation. Then I focused on competition law, but also for the aviation sector. And I was working a lot with airports, with ground handling companies, also aircraft producers. And then in 2015, drones became extremely important in Poland. We had many drone pilots around our airports, and I wanted to create an awareness campaign how to fly a drone safely. And this is how I became my great adventure that lasts for today.
I love that. So you started in the law, got into general aviation, and then of course, naturally, as the drone community started growing, that was just kind of a natural pivot for you. So tell us more about the Drone Alliance Europe. What exactly is that?
Well, Drone Alliance Europe is a powerful coalition that brings together leading technology companies like Amazon Primer, Wing, Mana Drone Deliveries, One Sky, Farada Group, Wingtra, right now Flying Basket. So all the celebrities from the drone market. And we always say as Drone Alliance Europe officers that we are a member-driven organization. So it's on our members' shoulders to provide to us, to Drone Alliance Europe officers, the comments about existing law or the law that is in process of, in the legislation process. So we are actually doing everything to influence the legislator. So the law that is prepared for our sector is helping us and it's not creating barriers.
Well, look, we all know, I think everybody that's watching this show, and by the way, we know you're out there. We are live, so tell us where you're from, say hello to Joanna, ask her your questions because Europe is doing incredible things. It's all about the regulations, right? The regulations are going to make or break this industry, and you've got this deep experience in aviation law. In fact, you initiated a conference on aviation law, UAV, for the UAV industry. You've been the head of aviation law practice in a corporate team in Warsaw. Tell us a little bit more about that background and how it informs your current role with the Drone Alliance Europe.
Well, as EASA and the European Commission harmonized the European law on drones, I decided to present the new legislation to existing drone companies on the Polish market. I invited not only the Polish players to my conference, it was called Denton's Drone Day. It created an international atmosphere, and during that event, I had a chance to see the representatives of Polish Civil Aviation Authority, Polish Ministry of Defense, Polish Ministry of Infrastructure, also a Polish armament group, so the main producer of the military drones in Poland. Alongside with WUB Electronics Group, which is a strong player on the Polish market in the military sector. And also I invited Airbus, so the European big player. I invited the Institute of Technology. This institute is one of the biggest innovators on the Polish market when it comes to UAVs. So I was very proud that the leading drone stakeholders came to Denton's law firm and presented what they are actually doing on the UAV market. However, the first part of the conference was devoted to the new harmonized law. And I was very proud that I invited people from local civil aviation authority, and they gave speeches on what is their approach to the new law, European law. So we talked about flights based on risk analysis. We talked about the need to educate all the pilots, and not only the pilots who are going to fly for business and for the professional purposes. We also talked about a new register, the certification of drones, and also the need of integration. So the main topics that had been harmonized by European legislator. And I was very happy that also PANSA representative, Maciej Włodarczyk, who is the head of UAV sector at our local ANSP, came over and presented how we should fly drones in a proximity of airports, and where are the zones where we should not be flying at all, because this is a key thing to enable social acceptance of drones.
Well, that's amazing. And all of the topics you just mentioned are ones that people are really grappling with globally. And honestly, I've been watching what's been happening in Europe in a way with a little bit of envy, because EASA has been doing great things, not just for the general drone regulation, right? This kind of baseline of what all the states should be using in Europe, but also on U-Space, which in our case, we're calling UAS traffic management, UTM. We only have a concept of operations. You have a regulation. And it became effective this year. And I've been watching the different trials and the flights, and really just amazed. So how does drone, like, from a mission standpoint, how does Drone Alliance Europe fit into that bigger picture? Then you started with this conference, your rich background. How does Drone Alliance Europe then fit into all of these different regulatory developments?
Well, it's not always easy, but as I mentioned, we have great members, and with the support of our members, we provided great comments, and we also provided the U-Space white paper, U-Space white paper number 1 and U-Space white paper number 2. We collaborated on that not only with our members, but also with other organizations like GUTMA, so Global UTM organization, also our sister twin organization from US, a small UAV coalition, and also with the German Drone Industry Association, which is actually a co-organizer of the EASA conference that I am attending tomorrow in Cologne. So we provided many actually member-driven feedbacks on the regulation, and and I'm very proud that it's not just a piece of paper, but this is something that that industry wants, and industry helped to shape it. Because as a lawyer, I always think that creating barriers has no sense. We need to create some safety environment so the business can develop itself. And actually, when I was observing how the regulation was drafted, I saw that there were also many conservative approaches to the use-based regulation. And I understand that many people, for instance, from the unmanned aviation, they did not understand everything that was going on in drones. So they wanted to create some additional barriers because they thought that drones are going to be detrimental to the safety of the flight of an aircraft with people on board. But actually, the whole industry, so all aircraft, all UAV producers, all drone producers, they are aware of the fact that their drone needs to be well constructed, well prepared for the business use cases, because otherwise, if one accident will happen, then no one is going to use drones in the future. We will not have social acceptance for this business.
Yeah.
So all drone manufacturers and also drone associations like French ADIF, for instance, they work really hard to provide the right standards, the right way to proceed in order to make this industry safe. And also,
if I
yeah,
might,
go ahead.
I just want to cut in for a second because you said a couple things that I want to kind of dovetail off of. Number one, I love that as an attorney, you're leaning forward, trying to what we call here get to yes, because so many attorneys get a bad reputation of being the ones throwing up the roadblocks, being hyper conservative. And for someone like you that has had experience in both crewed and general aviation and the uncrewed world, I think it's phenomenal that you're leaning forward, working with industry through the Drone Alliance Europe to move these regulations in a way that it is safe, but yet not overly restrictive. I think that's always the balance that must be struck. I agree with you 100%. You know, the wrong bad incident can set the global industry back years, right? So great, good on you for the work that you are doing. By the way, we already have comments, so this is awesome. Phantom Flight 101 is saying good day, everyone, and hello also from One Vision Aerial. So thank you for listening, and keep the comments coming. We know you guys are out there. One other thing I want to say is, honestly, I learned something. Listen to your Clubhouse. Everybody, if you missed Johanna's Clubhouse last week with Sam Scully, go back and listen to that replay on demand. It was absolutely phenomenal. And honestly, I've been in this industry for a little while, and I did not know about your, as you call them, your sister organization called the Small UAV Coalition. I looked at their website. These members are not small members. I mean, these are like, we're talking Amazon Prime, Wing,
Yeah.
right? We've got some big, heavy hitters involved in that organization. And now I hope our audience knows more about that. We'll go to their website as well. This is the US kind of version of the Drone Alliance Europe that's connected to them, that helps with regulations. And so thank you for that awareness, honestly. And I look forward to learning more about Drone Alliance Europe and them, of course, and hopefully working a little bit more together in the future. But let's talk about that work, because from the regulatory standpoint, as far as we have all come, and when I say all, I mean US, we had our small UAS rule that came out in 2016. Europe is close around that time, and then you've got use-based, you've got so many things. You've got your national level regulations, which adds just a whole nother layer of complexity, quite frankly. We're grappling with that a bit here with this thing called federalism in our states versus entire countries that we have to deal with. So what would you say are the continuing regulatory challenges that Drone Alliance Europe has kind of on your docket, if you will?
Well, we try to monitor the market. We try to monitor what the key regulatory bodies are doing and policymakers in Europe. Well, the safe integration of drones into airspace with other airspace users is always the most important factor because it can actually be a great barrier, but also a great facilitator. So we are monitoring this aspect and also the use of drones by hobbyists. So people who are not actually in the drone business, but they are flying drones in our landscape, and they can, for instance, fly in controlled traffic region and be detrimental. So Drone Alliance Europe focused a lot on this integration of drones into the airspace, and we try to promote as much as we can during our panels on international conferences that actually this is one of the most important aspects to keep the drone business going. So as I said before, Drone Alliance Europe prepared white papers on new space, and we elaborated a lot on air traffic management with the classic aviation stakeholders. In 2019, we prepared some papers for single European sky to bring this concept forward and to modernize ATM. And I'm very proud of it because it was a key factor to kick off the drone business and the drone industry. And I also think that we need to focus on what's in the current issues, what is EASA doing. For instance, we elaborated recently on noise, because noise can be a barrier in social acceptance, how people see the future eVTOLs, the future taxis,
Yes.
drone taxis. So we try to keep an eye on eVTOLs as well.
So, you bring up this noise issue, and it's a very good one because, we've been talking a lot about public perception. It was EASA, right, that recently put out an kind of a proposed noise standard. I remember
Yes.
it because I believe I posted it on social media because I feel like this was maybe the first one globally, and very impressive. I know there's been a ton of work being done in this space from kind of that decibel standpoint. What's so interesting about noise, Johanna? It's not just objective. What someone hears, the decibel level. There's a very large subjective component to it. That even when someone just sees an aircraft, even if it's not loud objectively, they may perceive it to be so, and to be a noise annoyance, just because of again their perception. And that is a tough nut to crack. So I guess my question, I'm going to deviate from the script, my friend. My question to you is, you're working obviously with EASA, you're working with all of the different stakeholders. Is the Drone Alliance Europe also engaged in the community, with the public very specifically, right? Because look, you and I know we go to conferences, we talk to ourselves about
Yes.
ourselves. My guess is all the people watching us right now are people already in this industry, right? So has the Drone Alliance cracked that nut of how do you reach the public? Have you done that kind of outreach?
Well, we did as Drone Alliance Europe, and I also do it on as a drone enthusiast and fan of aviation. I would mention my last panel in Spain during Airspace Integration Forum, where I had a chance to talk at Cuatro Vientos with four Spanish experts on drone noise. This was I was extremely happy to have this opportunity to meet them. And actually, my plan was to stay in Spain 2 days for this conference. But when I got this proposition from Chabela Butras, the organizer of Airspace Integration Week in Madrid, Joanna, can you moderate the noise panel? I said, of course, I will do it, because I knew that many people not from the drone industry are going to be in the audience and they are going to listen to us. So I was very happy that I could engage with the audience not from our industry. And actually the experts who presented the scientific research on noise, they talked about, as you mentioned, the impact on our, I'm missing this term in English.
On your like your perception, the way you're,
Yes,
you're viewing it, right?
yeah, but also on your stress. It has an impact on
Oh,
your interior stress.
yes,
So
yeah.
for me, it was very interesting to learn that some people just get very nervous due to the decibels they hear from the sky, and also it depends on on the intensity. It can be just one small small noise that can make someone have a crisis. So from my point of view, I love aviation noise. I live next to the airport in Warsaw, and I would not move anywhere else because
I was going to
this
say,
is what.
when I was in the Air Force and my office was next to the flight line and we had F-22s routinely doing flybys and the whole building would shake, in my mind, it's like, that's the sound of freedom, it's like, yeah, but seriously, I get that because sadly, I think COVID has really ramped up people's mental health issues, in particular anxiety. And I'm talking people from young children all the way through the elderly. And noise is one of those things that if you already have some kind of an anxiety condition or concern, uh, it can really exacerbate that. So it's a very serious topic. I love that you're talking about it, that you're talking about it to the public. This industry is working so hard from a technology standpoint to mitigate that. And when I say this industry, I oftentimes lump drones and, as you say, air taxis in one bucket. I know they're very different, but both groups, let's just say, are working on, what propellers can we make that will decrease the noise. I know, well, actually, one of your European countries, Eurolink, has that Beluga drone, and they actually designed
Yes.
the propellers to be like owl feathers to reduce the noise profile. And biomimicry, I think, is one way to do that. When you look at and listen to birds flying, you don't hear their wings flapping. So oh, and then you think about the Robird. I think that was originally created, I'm going to go on a limb and say, Norway. And now, the group Arium Analytics in Canada is working with the Robird. It looks like a falcon. It literally flies like with wings, super cool. So many great technologies. Let's pivot, since we're talking about the technological ecosystem. Not only do you have amazing companies across Europe, you have some right in your own backyard in Poland. And one of those, I think, is the Drone Hub, right? Tell us a little bit about this company.
Well, Drone Hub, it's an amazing startup that actually comes from south of Poland, but also from Ukraine, because the founder, Vadim Melnik, who actually initiated this idea of drone hubs on the Polish market, he started as a student, but right now he's a great CEO, very proud of his company. And actually, he's one of three European manufacturers who came with this idea. to make drone flight operations easier. So actually, this drone hub technology allows you to have a drone operation 24-hour without any human touch. So the drone is flying, and when drone needs to charge the batteries, there's this mechanism in the drone in the box solution, which allows the drone to recharge the batteries. And our Polish energy state-owned companies are using this system. For instance, in Płock, there is this energy company called Orlen, and Vadim made a pilot project with them, and actually they stayed with Drone Hub, and they are using their solutions to monitor their infrastructure. I find it very creative and very useful because it's very important from the safety of our country to have a protection of such energetic sites. And I think companies like Vadim are very useful, can be very useful to many sectors, not only for energy sector, but also border protection. We use in Poland a lot of drones to fly over our border with Ukraine. So I think from the defense perspective of each country, it can be an amazing solution. I know that Vadim was also talking with the French companies like ENGIE, so former GDF Suez, also EDF. They also produce nuclear power plants. So the drone industry and this kind of solutions can be very beneficial for the security of energy sector.
Absolutely. We talk about public acceptance, and these are the kind of stories that the public just doesn't even know about. And not only the money that it saves, frankly, the lives that it saves, whether it's from people that would have to do very dangerous inspections, hanging off of helicopters or whatever it is, right, to, disaster response when those towers go down, all the power goes out, drones are monitoring all of that. By the way, our dear friend Danielle Gagnier from Volatus Aerospace is in the audience listening, and her comment was so amazing to address mental health issues. Couldn't agree more, Danielle. Thank you for chiming in. And again, thank you to Volatus for your support for this episode and all of those over the last couple of years. So great stuff. Critical infrastructure is an ideal use case. Drone delivery is one of those things that is, I think, maybe a little bit more in the public eye. We've seen groups, I think you've mentioned Mana, Bobby is doing amazing things. Yeah. He started in Ireland. I know he's all over Europe. He's coming to the US. I think your Drone Hub folks are coming to the US too. I love everybody's coming here. But you also just kind of onboarded this group called Flying Basket?
Flying Basket, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. This is a new one to me. I love the name. Tell me about Flying Basket.
Okay, so I was always a big fan of Flying Basket because I thought they bring this freshness to the drone sector, which is already a fresh sector, but they always had amazing ideas, but very solid aviation background, and they really fought a lot for the regulation. So big bravo for Moritz and his team, because they are good advocates in Europe when it comes to fostering the regulations. And as a drone company that is present in deliveries, what impressed me a lot is that they have a big payload, so they can carry goods up to 100 kilos. This is a different business model from Bobby's. Yeah, that's huge, and they really have great drones. They partner up with Leonardo. Leonardo, as you know, because you also come from our sector, and you are familiar with the big players on the aviation market. Yep. So Leonardo is the leader of European helicopters used for military purposes. Yes. Polish government has contracts with Leonardo, and Leonardo saw in Flying Basket a perfect partner for the drone industry, because they wanted to enter civil drone industry, and they were looking for the commercial partner, and they found Maurice, and they said, okay, let's do something together. They even purchased 10% of the shares in Flying Basket, and right now I'm very confident that if we imagine that Flying Basket is flying with a payload of 100 kilos, it's a good quality.
Well,
And
I'm going to do some public math here. So everybody hold your breath. 100 kilograms is over 220 pounds, everybody. So, I mean, this is like the level we're talking about here. You know, Johanna, in the United States, that would take all kinds of special approvals, right? Because our Part 107 rule is just for 55 pounds or less. And I know you use the Jaris Sora, and you have that kind of air and ground risk analysis and the sales, the different kind of use cases and things like this. How difficult is it to get a drone that can carry that kind of payload, you know, flying in European airspace? Because for us, I mean, no pun intended, that would be a heavy lift.
well, I would need to check out with Moritz how long have he been waiting for the authorization.
Yeah.
But I guess in Europe it's quicker than US. I can tell you that in Poland, when a company wants to have a payload heavier than the standard payload that is used by smaller drones,
Right.
then the company needs to wait a few months. Normally, the head of our drone department told me that for the authorization to carry a payload, it should take like 2 months or 1 month, but usually it takes around 5 months because
I'm laughing inside because no, like 5 months honestly is a drop in the bucket. Like that is nothing. It's taking some companies years here to get things done. So 5 months, wow, that is amazing. Oh, and by the way, Novus Quads is out there saying good morning to all. So hello, Novus Quads. Thank you for jumping in. But that's incredible. Like, so you've got, you know, all of these companies out there doing things. And so when you think about Drone Alliance Europe and what you're tackling next, okay, I can tell you, you know, in the US, the big thing that is within everybody's sights, I'm being very punny today, is beyond visual line of sight, or BVLOS operations. It sounds like Drone Hub is kind of already doing that with their drone in the box solution. You know, here we have to get waivers that take a while. Now we're trying to streamline that, and that's awesome. We love that. However, you know, that's a big one, and we don't expect a regulation, or at least a notice of public rulemaking, like a draft rule, if you will, until at least August of next year. And then there's public comment period. That's our process in the law. And then the FAA has to address those comments and put out a final rule. That could take a year. So let's just, you know, just to say on a good day, we're looking at mid to late 2025 to have a no kidding beyond visual line of sight rule. Where are you guys on beyond visual line of sight with regards to regulation and what Drone Alliance Europe is advocating for?
Well, our members, they already fly beyond visual line of sight. For instance, Farada Group, which is our member since 2 years, they have operations beyond visual line of sight operations since COVID. Also, Thales is flying beyond visual line of sight. Thales is not our member, but we are in touch with Thales Group, and we have been impressed by what they did during Le Bourget conference. They actually kicked out a European project involving 3 countries, France, Spain, and Italy, to build up a special corridor for drones to fly beyond visual line of sight. They inaugurated it during Le Bourget conference because they wanted to draw attention of all aviation stakeholders from all over the world. And Thales actually provided a software for the safe integration of drones into the airspace. And I was in touch with the Farah Lu. I'm saying hello to Farah if she's watching us. I told her about this show, but as she's a mother of 3 and also a very, very busy businesswoman, I'm not sure if she's there. However, she did a great job finalizing this project, and the drones that are involved in You Welcome project, because this is connected with You Welcome project, are flying BVLOS, and I know that many companies who are actually on the French market, they have no problem with that. Civil Aviation Authority in France is very involved in the drone sector. Nicolas Marcoux, Antoine Martin, they are the officers who are in charge of the drone department, and they were also working a lot with EASA on new space regulation. So I think they made sure that the business is happy, because I know that they did a lot of consultation with the right companies like Thales, like NG, because NG has it's an energy company in France, but actually they have a drone department of 7 people, led by Irving George, who actually wrote a manual for the drone operators. So they did a lot to make BVLOS possible. And I really like also the approach of the Polish Civil Aviation Authority, because we had our internal regulation on BVLOS in 2017. So a
What?
little bit,
200
yes.
2017? Oh my gosh, my envy just grew like 3-fold.
But our country is much smaller than US.
I know,
And
but still, like what I'm hearing you say is, oh, look, we already have corridors for beyond visual line of sight for drones between 3 countries. And by the way, I know France is also going to be flying air taxis next year as part of the Olympics. I just saw a Volocopter out of German company doing great things with their eVTOL aircraft. They just did some demonstration flights last week in Las Vegas, Nevada, during the National Business Aviation Association's BACE conference and expo. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. The funny thing is, the FAA just put out a fact sheet, we'll call it. I don't even know what legal authority, if any, a fact sheet has. Probably none. I should know that answer. Where they basically opine that air corridors are within their authority. It's their lane, not something the states should be doing. So that's a big thing here. But, and then the I-28, implementation 28 plan for advanced air mobility was just published in July. And it once again, and that's for near-term AAM or UAM operations. Talking about how 2028, our Olympics in LA is kind of the target to have some of these air taxis flying. Mm-hmm. And again, this idea of air corridors. I've yet to hear anything about well, okay, I'll take it back. This December, keep your eyes peeled, because I think in Texas, they might be flying with UTM, maybe some air taxis, maybe some drones in the Dallas Metroplex area to test out this idea of corridors. But, and I know in New York, the New Air has got this, but but the scope and scale of what you're talking about, I think, is very significant. And so good on Drone Alliance Europe for advocating for this and working with all of these folks from all these countries. What would you say? Okay, beyond visual line of sight is something you're tackling, and it sounds like it's going pretty well. What is the next big thing? We talked about noise, talked about BV loss. What's the next big thing you think that we really need to, you over there, us over here, everybody globally needs to kind of tackle, if you will, to really advance the drone and air taxi industry?
Well, I think we need to look for customers. So we need to see how people see us, because it's not only about the product, it's also about the people who will use it. For instance, my son is a high school student. He's 17, and I know he is going to be the first in the line to fly air taxi. He loves aircrafts. But many people, they are afraid to actually go on an aircraft. They are afraid of regular flights, to fly a Boeing 787 or Airbus 380. For some passengers, it's a nightmare. I asked once my father, who's an airline pilot, why, Daddy, people are afraid of flying? And my father was thinking for a while, and he said they don't have wings. That's why.
Uh,
So we yeah, so maybe this is, we had to build aircraft in order to fly, and it's not natural for human beings to fly because we don't have wings. So maybe this is the factor of the fear, and that's why some people are afraid of flying. I am a great fan of flying, and I love to get on the plane and just to take off. I like turbulences, but some people are afraid of flying. So how can we actually work on that? How can we promote air taxis so they are actually going to be used in the future? Because who is going to be the passenger for the air taxis? So we need to also tackle this, where the business will go, and what are the use cases, what are the applications. I think it's also on our side, on the policymakers, also associations like Drone Alliance Europe and other alliances, global alliances, to actually work on the customer, on the future customer, and educate the future customer. It's very important.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, as I think about it, the idea of a flying Uber, costs the same as an Uber Black is great. Like you said, how many people are hopping into that? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, if it's emergency response and someone's had a heart attack, and this air taxi can very quickly, quicker than an ambulance on the ground, sitting in traffic, can jet that patient to the hospital, and that life is saved, that will normalize these flights. That is, to me, the best public and visible public use case, because people are used to, we have right now helicopters that do that, right? They call it life flight. To the extent that these aircraft start being used for that, start being used, for example, by firefighters, where they're evacuating people out of a danger zone, as an example. All of these things will endear, I think, the idea of an air taxi in the public's mind, because they'll know this is good for society. This saves lives. Saving a couple bucks or being cool, that's great. But I don't know that that's the seller. Like, I don't know that that's going to win, if you will, the hearts and minds of the public here. I think we need to see our civil servants, the people that actually help people, and get this out. By the way, everybody, we are almost at time. I'm going to give Joanna a couple minutes to wrap up here, and also tell everybody how they can reach her. But before we go, I do want to say that I have actually a public broadcast television special coming up on drones and air taxis next Thursday, November 2nd. It's going to air on Rocky Mountain PBS. Follow me on social to get those links. You can also watch it on demand at the Wings Over the Rockies Museum YouTube and Rocky Mountain PBS YouTube channel after it airs as a premiere next Thursday, 7:30 Mountain Time. But I'm so excited about this, Joanna, because I've been doing this podcast for over 2 years now. And this show, I hope, will be the thing that reaches the general public. And the title of the show is How Drones and Air Taxis Will Change the World. And I'm hoping that this is just the start of something bigger and will help raise public awareness. That's really what it's all about. So I love what you're doing. This has been an incredible conversation. We are almost at our time, so I really want to cede the floor to you to close out with whatever you want to talk about in the last minute or two, and also to please tell people how they can reach you and learn more about the Drone Alliance Europe.
Thank you, Dawn. So first of all, I would like to congratulate on your activities because here in Europe, you are the best source of our knowledge around American markets. So we really appreciate all the insights on drone regulation and also on the market. I learned about your show from EASA colleague, Yves Morier, and I am always very thankful because he told me, if you want to know something about American drones, watch her. She knows everything, and he was right.
That's awesome. I love you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say a big thank you to the hardworking people who collaborate with Drone Alliance Europe. Amazon Wing, Mana Drone Deliveries, Wingtra, One Sky, Farada Group, Flying Basket, because they are hard workers, and I see them on a regular basis, how much time they devote. How much time of their family life they sacrifice to make this industry happen. I have been working with many industries. I am a lawyer, of course, devoted to aviation industry, but I also had clients from the medical sector, also from cosmetics, from energy sector. And I must say that aviation sector is the toughest, the most demanding one, because everything needs a regulation. So even a tiny pin in the aircraft is certified like 1,000,000 times, and everyone has to watch it from many perspectives, so it can be actually added to the aircraft. So it's very complicated to make our industry fly. And it's drone industry. It's not one man show. It takes many players to make it happen. And I enjoy it because I enjoyed working with people who are passionate, enthusiasts. But there are so many challenges. As we discussed, the main challenge is the safe integration with other airspace users. And it's a challenge of digitalization. So all the airspace users can see each other. For us, for the people from the aviation world, this is just so evident. But from the perspective of someone who is flying a drone just for pleasure, it's not so obvious that he can be detrimental to the airport operations. So there are so many fields that still need work and devotion, time, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to share my knowledge with Drone Alliance Europe members, and I am also happy to shape the regulation. But it's not an easy journey. I also wanted to talk about the phenomenon of vertiports, because we all talk about the fact that we need good drones, we need good air taxis, but we also need to work on the ground infrastructure.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is like a whole nother show. And by the way, I'm hoping, I'm going to talk to Joanna after this. I'm hoping we get her to come here and maybe to AUVSI Exponential next year. So we'll see. But I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm looking at the clock, and I know you actually have an airplane to catch.
Yes, that's right.
So we're gonna talk about vertiports some other time. I promise you. This has been an amazing conversation, as Danielle Gagne said. Again, thank you, Volatus. Thank you, Johanna. I want to respect your time and make sure you don't miss your flight as much as you love flights. They're not fun when you miss them. So let me ask you, how can people get in touch with you? How can they learn more about Drone Alliance Europe?
Well, we try to provide on a regular basis some articles on our LinkedIn site. We also have a website. When it comes to developing the membership, people can reach me out through my LinkedIn. It's the safest way because I always watch and monitor my LinkedIn. And of course, they can reach out to my colleagues in Brussels, Domenico Minini, also my colleagues in Washington, so Greg Walden, Michael Drobak. I'm saying hello if you are watching. And I mean, I think that anyone who wants to join our forces and advocate for the better regulations for our sector, you are most welcome within our membership.
Well, thank you again so much. I hope everybody that out there learned a ton. I know I did. So thank you for educating us and for your time. Good luck with your flight and with your ongoing activities. We will absolutely be in touch. In the meantime, everybody, we are out here.
Thank you, Dom. Bye bye.